Hello, welcome to Monday Musings. My name is Sara R. Turnquist. I'm a clean historical romance author of over 20 books. And I am so happy that you are tuning in. Whether you're live or listening to this later, I appreciate you showing up and listening to me just kind of talk about things that are important to me. And so that is what we talk about here on Monday Musings. We talk about the importance of fill in the blank. And today we're going to talk about the importance of setting limits, or I also like to call it the importance of boundaries. And that's hopefully not a new word to you. What I mean when I talk about boundaries, I'm talking about setting limits, again, using that terminology, whether that's in family relationships or friendships. And boundaries are hard to set for people that have a hard time saying no, but they are good and purposeful and holy and right. It is good for us to set boundaries. It is good for us to say, this doesn't work for me, this situation. That advice, that recommendation, or what you're asking, that favor you're asking of me doesn't work for me. And even harder in that situation for those who struggle with people pleasing is not feeling the need to say why it doesn't work for you. No, as one of my dear friends says, no is a complete sentence. It doesn't necessarily need an explanation. And that is another type of boundary, to put a boundary around your responses that the people in your life asking that they respect, that no is a complete sentence from you. Because when we have requests of us, when we have favors asked, when we say yes to one thing, we're not just saying yes. We're always, every single time, saying no to something else, because you only have 24 hours in the day, right? Unless you've been able to find something magical or wonderful that I haven't been able to find yet. But you only have 24 hours in the day. And so if you spend those hours or spend even 30 minutes on something else, that's 30 minutes that you're not being able to utilize in other ways, whether that's doing things that you have on your schedule, marking off to-do items, or even resting, which is another important thing. So just know that when you're saying no, you're saying yes to yourself in some areas. And when you say yes to somebody that's asking a favor or something, it's totally within your boundaries, within your rights to decide if you have time to take that on, and if you have the space and the capacity to take it on. But it's also important to recognize that you are saying no to something else in your life. And that was something that was mind-boggling for me. But something else that I've been learning is that not only are boundaries important and good and wonderful and holy and right in our relationships, but our relationship with ourselves falls in that category as well. Setting boundaries for ourselves around rest time, around downtime, around work time, around creative time. These are all very important things. Those of you that have been following me for a while know that I just went on a cruise vacation and I did not take my laptop. I said that I wasn't going to, and I thought a couple of times about going back on that, but I committed to that boundary I set around that vacation time. And so I was without my laptop, which meant that it really limited and eliminated, in most cases, the kinds of things I could do work-wise. And so I took a break from work. It was the first real disconnecting from work, the first real break that I'd had in a long, long time. And it was the the biggest thing that I didn't know that I needed. It was such a gift to myself, that I struggled with at times, but in the end, I'm so glad that I did it. And I hope and pray that it helps teach me moving forward a little bit more what it practically looks like to set boundaries in my own life. I am still in sunny Florida, Central Florida, that is. And I want to give a shout out to our wonderful family friend that is watching the house and the puppies and the older dog. And most importantly, my kiddos. But my husband happens to be here in Central Florida with me, and he's on the live stream as well. And my producer that you have seen in the background sometimes, Cindy Smith, is here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and pull Cindy on if she will add herself to the stage. Yay, there's Cindy. I have missed my sweet friend Cindy so much. Not only is she my producer and someone who helps keep me organized, she is my dearest, dearest friend. And so I was happy to invite her to come on, not just wear her producer hat today, but also step onto stage with me and tell us a little bit about what she's learning in this area of boundaries and setting limits.
Yeah. You know, what you said about people pleasing, really, that is something that I have struggled with, wanting to make people, I hate saying no to people or letting them down. And I think my journey into setting boundaries, I mean, I've read books, like I read the, setting boundaries books. I talked to people about setting boundaries. I've even talked to my counselor about it, but I really feel like it started clicking when you and I read that book, The Love Your Life Project.
Yes.
That really, really helped me a lot. And I have learned that it's healthy to not always say yes to things. And I want my yeses to be meaningful, and I want my yeses to be something that's important to me, and or the things that I say yes to be important to me. And one of the things that I started at the beginning of this month was I am now not on Facebook or Instagram. And that has just been really good because I'm not being bombarded by, well, on Instagram, I was really just spending hours watching cute animal videos and that's good every once in a while, but I would spend a lot of time. Yes. And then on Facebook, I would just scroll and read people's posts. And even over the weekend, I went through my Facebook list, friends list, and I really got rid of some friends that some names I came across. I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. And so I cut down my friends list just because I don't need to have so many different people speaking into my life. And I think that we're on Facebook, and unless it's something like, oh, today's my anniversary, or, those things. But if you put in like, oh, I'm struggling with this, or this has happened, people just feel like they have the right to speak into our lives. And one of those boundaries that we need to really, I think, put in place to protect ourselves is to limit who has that power to speak into our lives. Another thing that I've done that has helped with boundaries is we both have read the book, The Lazy Genius by Kendra Adachi, which was very helpful. One of the questions that I keep asking most is, what matters in my life this week? What is it that matters? And then I also took a online course by Hannah Brencher. I think I said that right. Map Your Week. And so, setting up, okay, this is what I want my week to look like. The thought that I can be in control of what my week and not have to just be at the whim of everyone else's life. So I have my journal where I write down what is important to me, what I want to do with my week. And then I'm also writing myself little sticky notes so that I keep this with me. And this journal I got through Kendra Adachi's website, but you can get any journal and map out your week so that you are in control of what you put into your week or what you don't allow into your week. So those are some things that I have been doing for boundaries, being more in control of, I guess, overall, who speaks into my life and what I allow in my week.
Yeah, I think you're saying something that's very, very important to hear, and I don't want us to look over it. Facebook is a wonderful way to keep in touch with people that are far away from us, but it needs boundaries around it too. And those boundaries are going to look different for everybody. But the reality is that those people that we are friends with on Facebook, the people that we look at when we scroll, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, whatever social media we're using, we are giving them that space in our life to speak into us and to give them that privilege of giving them a platform for their opinion in our decisions and in our life and in the things that we post about. And so I think that's so important, Cindy, what you're saying about limiting that ability of other people that we don't in real life, we wouldn't take advice from these people, but we're letting them speak into us in this other way. And
Yeah.
as you're talking, I'm also thinking about how God is really priming us right now for this very topic. You know, we have read some wonderful books about it. We read Hannah Brencher's The Unplugged Hours, which really talked to us about just putting those guardrails in place around what is important. And then Kendra Adachi talks about what matters most today, this week, in this season, in this year, in your life,
Yeah.
and focusing on those things. And so I feel like there was one other thing that we read or talked about that led me down this little road here. But I think that we are in this place right now where God has primed us to talk about this.
Yeah.
A lot of these books are, I think, a little bit more accessible to the average person. I loved the book's boundaries, but there were times in the book where it felt very clinical and very heady. And I struggled with it a little bit as far as reading it. It had great information. It was a wonderful book, and I still highly recommend it. But for those that find that they are struggling through that book, it's not just you.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. I see you. I
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
So a book like Hannah Brencher's The Unplugged Hours or Kendra Adachi's The Lazy Genius Way, those are wonderful opportunities to read something that may be a little more accessible.
Yeah. And I think too, when we let so many people speak into our lives, we start to think that there's something wrong with us that we have to fix.
Mhm.
And I loved in the Unplugged Hours. I'm not going to read the whole quote, but I like. I want to read one short quote from her. It's from chapter 31 that says, "We're meant for more than continually waiting for life to begin because we don't feel worthy of the life in front of us. I know we're meant for a deeper, more soul-filled way of living." And I think boundaries help that.
Mhm.
And limiting the things that we let into our lives.
Yeah, I think it's in Kendra Adachi's The Plan, where she talks about how you're always going to have a to-do list. You'll have a to-do list on the day that you die.
Yeah.
That you're going to die with things on your to-do list is the point that she was trying to make. And so the tasking of your to-do list doesn't need to be the mountain. It doesn't need to be the ultimate in your day. It's being present. It's connecting with the people around you. It's connecting with where you are and who you are that will make an eternal difference. It's
Amen.
not that I checked these 5 items off my list. And I am so guilty of feeling like the be all and end all of my day is the number of check marks that I got.
Yeah. And I liked what you said, that we when we let the to-do list or stuff dictate our lives, we're not present. And like my girls are 27 and 25. My 25-year-old still lives at home, but you have little ones. I mean, comparatively little ones who still need your attention and need your presence. And you have a husband who needs, our husbands need our presence. And right before I stopped scrolling through Instagram, Sean would say, "Hey, am I interrupting you?" And I'm like, "Wait, he's more important. My presence with him is more important than this person on Instagram that I probably will never meet in my life." So your point about being present in the life of the people that are in our lives is so important.
Yeah, it was one of the things that I noticed on the cruise. There were, I don't want to say so many people, but there were definitely a handful of people every place that I went on the cruise ship that were seeing their lives through their phone, whether the phone was facing them and they were doing a video about them reacting to the things around them on their vacation, or whether they were doing a point of view video and voicing over what they were seeing as the viewer can see it. I think those things can be valuable to me as a consumer, but they weren't able to be present in their vacation. And some of them, I'm sure, do this for a work situation. And so it's not a vacation. They do this all the time. But I just thought, I went with a friend, and if I had seen the whole thing through my phone, would my eyes have ever taken in the reality of what was around me? Would I have been able to just sit in awe of the vastness of the ocean or the beauty of the island and all of those different things? And I'm not trying to throw shade or judge on those people, because that's how they've chosen to spend their time. But for me, if I was doing that, it would detract from my experiencing what's around me. And it just was highlighted for me on that vacation.
Yeah, that's really good. That's, yeah, that is, yes. Yes, and amen.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for coming on and chatting with me. We'll have to do this more often. I really love your perspective and your wisdom on everything.
Well, I love talking to you. So, but I'm going to
Well, thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Whether you're seeing this live or you're seeing it after the fact, I will check with my tech support and see if we can drop in the description some of the ways you can find those books that we talked about. And also, if you are looking for some fiction, you can grab a free copy. If you're looking on the screen there, you can grab a free copy of one of my novels, Hope in Cripple Creek. You can grab that on my website, and that you will be able to find that link not only right here, but in the description below. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next Monday. We'll see what is important that Monday. What I mean is the importance of whatever I'll be talking about. I will have important things going on Monday, but I would love to hear from you about what kind of boundaries are important to you, what kind of boundaries you're setting in your life, and are you finding some peace in that? So let me know in the comments, and I will see you next Monday.